welcome to another edition of Chop It Up, alongside the shooter, Jimmy Acevedo. I'm A. Castro, and we have got some big news regarding perhaps the fight of the century. It is official. After years of speculations and broken down negotiations, we have got the fight that everybody's asked for. Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao. It's going down May 2nd, MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Jimmy?
We've been waiting for this. We've been waiting for this for the past 6 years. 6 years. And what gets me, it's a 60-40 split. Mayweather been proposing that 60-40 split for the past 6 years. And finally, Pac-Man bites. That's what gets me a little irritated.
Well, back to the question. Was this really a financial problem on why this fight hasn't? No, was it a financial problem?
It's financial and pride.
We heard financial.
Pride. It's
drug
pride.
Test.
And drug test, but
pride in what?
Pride.
He's the best fighter in the world.
Pacquiao believed he was the best fighter in the world.
Of course he does. And
he didn't believe he believed he wasn't. He shouldn't take 40%.
But if you're Floyd Mayweather, you want this fight. You're gonna get the money. You're going down. Right now. You're probably the most wealthiest sports figure right now. But there are a lot of people who felt that you haven't had that much legitimate fights. I'm going to be honest with you. The biggest legitimate fight he had, in my opinion, which I felt he lost, was Oscar De La Hoya in 2007.
Think he lost that one?
I think it was a close one. I felt it should have gone a lot closer than he did.
Well, let's talk about, is this fight too late?
Well, listen, we're not talking about George Foreman and Mike Tyson fighting right now, if you're considering that late. It had to happen. Boxing needed it to happen. And it's unfortunate that we waited so long for it to happen. And my only thing is it leads up to the hype. It lives up to the hype.
Yeah,
it's been so long.
Let's talk about first of all, we got Pac-Man, Manny Pacquiao, who's 57-5. To Mayweather, 47 have tried. And 47 have failed.
There you go. TVE.
Could he be the 48th member to fail? Or could he be the 48th guy to finally put that one in that L column?
It has been done before. Let's turn up on the feeder streaks.
Let's just take you back for the last few fights of these two guys. Pac-Man's last 5 fights, 3-2. One of those fights was a decisive and career-threatening knockout by Juan Manuel Marquez.
Yeah,
the 6th round.
They call it the Igloo knockout.
Mind you, but that okay. Remember back Lennox Lewis and Hasim Rahman? Rahman knocked out Lennox Lewis. And Lennox Lewis is saying that was a lucky punch. I'm not saying that Marquez's punch was lucky by any means, but I'm just saying, Manny Pacquiao walked right into that punch, So, and because Manny Pacquiao win the first 5 rounds. He was dominating that fight.
Right. Well, see, getting into that fight, a lot of people felt that maybe Pacquiao overlooked Marquez in the midst of preparing for a potential Mayweather fight, which didn't happen.
That's the thing.
You think that was the case?
He was always in the mind. Pac-Man always wanted Mayweather.
Right.
So was his head 100% on that fight that night? Was the other 5 individuals who he fought before he ever got this fight to sign? I don't think he was 100% in it because for the past 5-6 fights, he wanted Mayweather.
Right.
Now he has him. Now it's time to shut up and just show the world why you wanted Mayweather.
Well, the same thing goes for Mayweather as well.
Yes, yeah. But I'll tell you right now, this is a career-defining match for Mayweather. Mayweather win this fight right here. He's nothing else to prove.
Right.
He has nothing else to prove.
Right.
He brought by all means, he fought tough fight after tough fight. Canelo Alvarez, was he too young for that fight? I think he was. I think he caught that fight too early.
Right.
So, but yet he was still undefeated and 21, 22 years old.
Right.
Then you have, everybody was talking about Sugar Shane Mosley, who he could be the guy to finally crack the Da Vinci Code because he got the speed and the power. Mayweather proved them wrong.
Yeah, but we gotta nip it in the bud. Sugar Shane Mosley was on the end of his career when he fought Floyd Mayweather. If Sugar Shane Mosley, and now I'm not saying that he would have won, but if Sugar Shane Mosley was in his mid-20s against a fresh mid-20s Mayweather, it would have been a good fight. But you know what? Let's talk about numbers.
Go ahead.
As significant as this fight is prepared and expected to shatter a lot of records. The fight is expected to shatter every revenue record in boxing history in terms of the pay-per-view buy record, which is at approximately $2.4 million generated by Mayweather's 2007 fight against Oscar De La Hoya. The all-time pay-per-view revenue record is $150 million, which was generated by Mayweather's fight against Canelo Alvarez, which Jimmy reiterated in 2013. And the all-time gate record will be $20 million.
No, that $20 million was the Canelo Alvarez versus Mayweather fight. They're predicting this fight to reach $40 million at the gate, which will double and shatter the Canelo Alvarez Floyd Mayweather fight.
Well, in terms of the 60-40 split for Floyd Mayweather, the gross share of that fight will exceed $400 million.
That's not to add the pay-per-view purchase prices. $89.99 for standard definition.
And it's $10 if you want it in high definition.
$100 if you want to see it in high definition. That's they projected maybe they're projecting 3 million buyers.
Right.
Dude, that's $300 million in pay-per-view buy rate. It's gonna shatter all boxing records. That is already set in stone. There was never a boxing fight $99.99 on pay-per-view ever. This will be the first one. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
This will also be one of the very few times that Showtime, who is Floyd Mayweather's under contract, and HBO, where Manny Pacquiao is under contract, they are going to come in a joint pay-per-view and have that fight on HBO and Showtime.
And also, the starting tickets for that fight, $1,000 just to start.
Woo!
To start, that's the starting price for those tickets. When we're talking the upper deck, $1,000. I don't know how big MGM Grand is. It's fan friendly with the view, so you get good views in the ring. They say, but still to be at the last seat up there to pay $1,000, that's crazy.
If you're in the biggest fight of the century, you got to take the nosebleeds.
And ringside seats. Ringside seats are $5,000.
It's a lot of money.
$5,000. And Bob Arum usually has comp tickets for superstars such as 50 Cent, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Jack Nicholson, and so on. Bob Arum said, no, that's not happening this time around. You want to go see the fight, you paying MGM Grand box office, Ticketmaster, whatever, to see that fight.
Right.
There's no comp tickets being handed out because you're a celebrity. So this fight will generate a whole lot of revenue. It's going to be groundbreaking.
Will this be the biggest boxing match of all time?
I mean, if it's something like, my opinion, the greatest match I've ever saw was I can't remember the name right now. Anyway, if bell to bell, rounds 1 through 12. Oh, I'm sorry, Jose Luis Castillo and Diego Corrales.
That was a good fight.
If it lives up to, if it's something like Diego Corrales and Jose Luis Castillo won, along with the hype, you're damn right, it's the best fight ever.
Well,
best fight ever.
Well, being that they're ranked number 1 and 2 in the pound for pound rankings, is going to be advertised. It's going to be all plastered all over the wall in every billboard building you see. if it's anything, in my opinion, with the Mickey Ward, what's it, Mickey? No, not Mickey Ward. Is it Mickey Ward? The trilogy with Ward.
Don't ring a bell. I know it's Mickey Ward. It's a trilogy. Yeah. I know he's talking about.
The trilogy. If it's anything to one of those fights where they basically ripped each other's head
Toro
off.
Gotti.
Oh, Toro Gotti. Oh, I got Toro Gotti.
Yeah, Gotti and Ward. But anyway, as far as numbers, fight of the century, best fight on revenue with the ticket sales, pay-per-view buys, this is the best fight ever for that. No doubt about it.
There has never been a boxing match, a pay-per-view boxing match, in the range of even $80. When you have Floyd Mayweather, you're gonna pay your money to see the best in the world. So, with that said, let's make the outcome for both parties and for both perspectives, starting with Manny Pacquiao. Mm-hmm. If Manny Pacquiao defeats Mayweather, whether it's a knockout, which will be very surprising, or by decision, if he wins the fight, what does it do for the Pacquiao legacy?
Woo! It cements him to be the one to put the 1 in 47 and 1.
Pretty sweet.
You know, it cements it. It makes him the only. I don't know about only, because who knows? Mayweather might lose. Mayweather haven't even lost it, so they haven't even jumped the gun. But I will never bet against Mayweather. But let's say he do lose that fight against Pac-Man, they're gonna fight again. There is a rematch clause in that contract.
That contract, it sure is.
You know, so, but just to be the one to put that one in that first loss in his career, it's just, he gotta be the greatest in that. He gotta be 1A and 1B.
What is staying?
1A and 1B is the greatest in that division.
What is staying his legacy? Because a lot of people, quote unquote, said that Floyd Mayweather hasn't gotten in the ring with quote unquote substantial competition. Does this stain his legacy?
Who says that?
I don't think so.
Listen, I disagree with that 100% because Canelo Alvarez, the kid was undefeated, a hard hitter, not easy, taller, more length. Mayweather schooled him. You know, a veteran. Again,
Ricky Hatton.
No, Ricky Hatton was. Please, let's not even talk about that truck. Ricky Hatton just destroyed. After that loss, he was never the same. Sugar Shane Mosley is an established veteran who's a hard hitter. And he rocked Mayweather a couple of times in that fight.
You can arguably say that he had the first 2 rounds.
Yes, and
Mayweather took him to school.
Mayweather rose above that. Marcus Maidana, the first fight, Mayweather got hit with some shots.
I think that was the first time I've ever seen a boxer
with some shots
offensively take it to Mayweather. And if Pacquiao can do that, Mayweather could be in for a long night come May 2nd.
Listen, he got hit with some shots in that first shot. And what happened? He overcame it. The second fight with Marcus Maidana, this is why he's such a great student to the game. He's a professor to the game. He studied that tape of that first fight. Maidana did not even get close to tagging him the amount of times that he tagged him in the first fight.
Right.
This man, he's a magician in that ring. Floyd Money Mayweather is a magician in that ring. You almost catch him once. If you don't catch him that first time, you're not catching him that second time. He's going to be prepared for whatever you brought to that table in that first fight. And they proved the point against Marcus Maidana. You know? But then also Cotto. Miguel Cotto was another tough competitor he faced. And Cotto gave it to him. Cotto was the first boxer that took it to Floyd Mayweather. That gave him actual real competition. Like almost had him like, oh man, like this guy could hit. If it wasn't for Cotto's stamina not lasting throughout the whole fight, I mean, I don't know. It could have. Who knows? I think my scorecards had Mayweather winning that fight, but if Cotto's stamina would have kept going, he could have made that fight way closer than it wasn't. You know, but. Anywho's.
Absolutely.
Well, so as far as they saying that Mayweather did not have no substantial competition, I highly disagree with that. I named a handful of fighters right there. That's pound for pound in the top top 5, top 10.
Top 5.
You know?
It goes down May 2nd, MGM Grand. Let's hope the drug testing and all this mumbo jumbo they got going, let's hope that it all flies past. It's just a sprinkle, and we get to see the perhaps the greatest fight we will ever see in our lifetime, in your lifetime as well.
Yes, sir.
Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, May 2nd.
MGM Grand.
All right, what else we got on tap for you guys? We got some basketball news involving some of the elite point guards. And let's start with Rondo. Rondo was benched by Coach Rick Carlisle during in the third quarter of Wednesday's loss against the Toronto Raptors, as he appears to have had a shouting match with Carlisle. Jimmy, we've heard this all about Rondo. We've heard the song all too fun. Great kid, good talent, but there's a baggage when it comes to Rondo. If you are a general manager and you regroup in the team and Rondo's available, do you take Rondo?
Yeah. Why not? This man, alright. This is a top 5 point guard in the league. This is what he does, what a point guard is supposed to do, which distribute the ball, creates plays for his scorers. He was a crucial factor in the Boston Celtics winning that championship. Even though they had KG and Ray Allen and Paul Pierce knocking down shots, who created those shots? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely right. Rondo was that glue that kept that team together.
You know what I mean? Yes, he was that glue. So, in a heartbeat, I would take. My only knack on Rajon Rondo is his shooting. He can't hit mid-range jumpers. I mean, he got a real low percentage on hitting jump shots. He needs to work on that. Then he would be the best point guard in the league. Better. Listen, and you'll be surprised with me saying this because I'm a Chris Paul fanatic. If he had a above average jumper, he'll be better than Chris Paul.
Wow, that's high praise. You put in Rondo in the same category as Chris Paul.
No, listen to me again. If he had that above average jump shot that Chris Paul has, I would put him.
I should be able to say that.
I would put him in front, not by much, but I would put him in front of Chris Paul. But him not having that shot puts him a couple of notches down in the top 5 point guard in the league.
I hear that. I'm gonna slightly disagree with you for the simple fact that you brought up his jump shooting. Right now, perennial point guards are really big. You could say the NBA is run by point guards. And Rondo has proven to be a great talent. He can give you 15 assists at will a night, but there's also the baggage. And if I'm starting a team, I don't want the headache. I don't want the problems. And he has proven that he is not willing to make other players around him better with his shenanigans on the field. And like you elaborated on a little while ago, he can't hit a jump shot if his life depended on it. So this begs the question. Rondo was suspended for one game. Carlisle, we know Carlisle's dealt with a lot of personal figures in his day. Carlisle's been around the block a long, long time. So I'm afraid that Rondo may just last the rest of the year in Dallas. I don't think he comes back in a Maverick uniform. Rondo had the same thing with Doc Rivers and his end of the road with Boston. So, good player, good talent, has great upside, but, the attitude, the shenanigans that come with it, and then the inconsistency in terms of shooting the ball. And I don't see Rondo being that kind of point guard. And you correct me if I'm wrong. If Kevin Durant's hurt, I know that OKC has a point guard that can take over the game in Russell Westbrook.
Okay.
With the Los Angeles Clippers, if Blake Griffin is not throwing up 20 points and 10 rebounds, I know that I got a point guard, a perennial point guard, and Chris Paul, who can give you 25 and 12 easily. Easily, yeah. Easily. I could even go and say, as far as John Wall doing that, John Wall, I got as most improved player of the year. I don't care how you slice and dice it. John Wall, most improved player. I guess I do.
He did.
His jump shot has been very.
He wasn't an underachiever last season, so how can he be?
Very much improved. I just have him as most improved for the simple fact that his assist ratio has gone up tremendously this year. And one thing that a lot of critics, such as myself, gone on him is that he didn't seem to have that it factor in terms of making people feel better. You take John Wall, you might see him out of that Washington Wizards lineup. The Washington Wizards are bottom feeding in the lower seeds in the Eastern Conference. So I would even put John Wall in that plateau.
Okay.
I'm not saying that Rondo does not have the potential, but there comes a time in the NBA. This is what you do for a living.
Listen, as far as potential, this is what you see what you get with Rondo. Potential, you start seeing you talk potential when it's the first 2 years in the league. Oh, his potential's getting better. His potential's rising. But I mean, Rondo been in the league for quite some years now. This is what you see. What you see is what you're gonna get from him, which is an absolute sensational passer, a great playmaker. You know, and one thing that he's always been a problem to coaches, as far as he wants to call his own plays. So he has a mind of his own on that court, and he feels like he sees something, he's gonna overrule the coach and call his own play, which was the issue that he had with Rick Carlisle yesterday.
What gives him that right? Let's be realistic with me. Be realistic. What has Rajon Rondo done to get that sort of upside on the coaches? Now, if this is Chris Paul, Chris Paul will go down as one of the best point guards to ever play the game. If this was a John Stockton we were talking about.
Listen, it don't give him a right
that kind of power.
It don't give him the right to egg the coach like that. But like once or twice, if you see something creating in the floor that you might think, you know what, I think we got a better chance to score on this play than the play coach called. Once or twice, not a problem. But it's a continuous problem with this kid. Which problems he had with Doc Rivers in Boston. And with the new coach they had out here, they had a problem out there with him. I don't know the new coach's name. It slipped my mind. But they're at the bottom of the East anyway, so it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So then now the problem with Rick Carlisle. And Rick Carlisle said something very interesting in his interview earlier today. He said that we need to communicate better so that this can be the best play of basketball. Wait, I'm sorry. The best banner of basketball tenure. I'm sorry. The best tenure of basketball he's played in his career.
Right.
Keyword tenure. Keyword tenure. AKA, after this season,
longevity.
After this season, he's gonna hit the free agent market. He's not gonna be here. He's not gonna be here in Dallas. Is what Carlisle's saying. So they want to create the best tenure of basketball in his career in a Dallas Maverick uniform. Why would you say that if you don't plan to keep this guy? You know. So that right there tells you that he's skipping town after the season.
Okay, so let's fast forward. Let's pretend that it's a hot summer in July. Free agency has just begun. Does Dallas re-sign Rondo? And if not, where does he go? Would the coach be willing to take the talent as well as the baggage?
I don't know where he's gonna go yet because we haven't got to that point because you still gotta remember this team's losing players. Every team's gonna lose a player.
Right.
The majority of the NBA teams need a point guard with the talent of Rondo.
Right.
So, we got the New York Knicks. You got Tony Parker's getting older. You got the Spurs who not gonna happen, but just throwing it out there. There's plenty of other teams that would love a point guard like that. So we can't even go that route yet. But I'm pretty sure 80% of the NBA teams out there would love a point guard. Well, let me take that back. Not 80%, because we got a lot of talented point guards in the league.
A lot.
So I want to say maybe bring that down to 60%. 60% of NBA teams would love a point guard like that. So,
well,
I mean,
a lot of that 60 will be in the East. I can guarantee it.
Oh, next top in that list. Cross fingers, cross fingers.
It is truly amazing to see where the Mavericks were last year and where the Spurs were this year. You got to remember, the Mavericks and the Spurs were in a fight for all 7-game series, and Spurs were the 1 seed in the West, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Mavericks were the 8 seed.
It could be vice versa this year. No, can't.
No,
I'm sorry. I take that back.
Too shabby.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Splash, brother.
I'm so sorry.
Splash it up.
Anyway, let's segue to such unfortunate news, man. Derrick Rose yet again suffers a season-ending injury. Is it over for him? I mean, is he a Penny Hardaway?
You know what, Jim? I hate to say this. I'm a big Derrick Rose fan. I followed a lot of Derrick Rose back in his days in Memphis when he was with John Calipari. I think it is safe to say that it may be the end of the road for Derrick Rose. I mean, a lot of people don't come back from potential season-ending injury. He's had the ACL injury in 2013, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's like...
And he's had two torn meniscus on the right knee. I mean, when he's there, this year, we saw a little bit more than him rather than the 10 games we saw him in last year. And there were games where we saw some of that flash, some of that MVP year in 2012 of Derrick Rose when he was healthy. But I'm almost convinced that it's a situation where he just can't stay on the court. And I'm afraid that a player with so much upside and so much talent, somebody that could have took the point guard game by storm in the next couple of years, I'm afraid that it could very well be the end of Derrick Rose in Chicago and perhaps the NBA.
Let me give you the rundown. I don't think you're going to go too far with the NBA in Chicago. I think it won't be the end of Derrick Rose. Well, it's definitely, I think it's the end of the 2010-2011 Derrick Rose, which is the season he won the MVP. And it's so crazy how his greatest year of his life, the greatest year of his career, followed a whole bunch of horrible seasons. 2010-2011, he won the MVP. The next year, he tears his ACL in a first-round playoff game against the Philadelphia 76ers, which led the Philadelphia 76ers to do a upset on the Chicago Bulls. Then we have the next year, he sat out that whole entire season, and he was getting criticized by it. Why you saying now? Come back, you're ready. They was talking maybe a little past the All-Star game. He was ready to go. Right. He was cleared to go, but he just wasn't comfortable, and everybody was just judging him and just downing this kid. So he sits out that whole entire year, and he comes back the next year. That's when he tears his meniscus in that right knee, and he's out for the year, which leads to this year. He comes back. Season is almost over. We get into the playoff run, the playoff chase. Tears his meniscus again. So ever since his 2010-2011 season that he won the MVP, this kid has not had a full season of basketball. And knee problems. Knee problems. That's the word. ACL and 2 torn meniscus. Mind you, on the same exact knee. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing the Penny Hardaway effect. Penny Hardaway was such a great player, and then to the injury, Grant Hill. Even you can say Grant Hill, the Grant Hill effect. Right, great player, but when injuries came down, it shattered the careers of Grant Hill and Penny Hardaway. Because if injuries wasn't a part of Grant Hill and Penny Hardaway, they could have been probably maybe top 5 greatest shooting guards in the league.
I absolutely agree.
If the injury bug wasn't attached to them. Well, Grant Hill was a small forward, but, But still, as far as scoring is concerned, those two men healthy, they would have been top 5 greatest. But anyway, if only healthy. But that's why I say Derrick Rose of 2010 and 2011, you will never get back. I think that Derrick Rose left. How you think? How you feel about that? You agree with me or you disagree?
I agree with you, and it really hurts me to the core to agree with you because, like I said, I was big on Derrick Rose, and there was so much potential that he had dating back in that 1 year that he had with Memphis, and then the explosiveness that he showed. I remember watching a segment one time where he caught a rebound and ran down the court in 4.2 seconds. That doesn't happen no more. Point guards don't do that no more. If there's one point guard that I can say that does that or could do that on the regular, aside from Derrick Rose, would be Russell Westbrook. So, I mean, it's unfortunate that Derrick Rose is going through another setback, but, from the Chop It Up station, we definitely wish Derrick Rose a speedy recovery.
Yes, we do.
All right, before we wrap up, Darren Williams, 31 assists in 3 games. Big deal? No big deal.
No big deal, man. No big deal. This man is underachieving his contract ever since he signed his name on the dotted line. This is just a 3-game span. Like, the beginning of the year, he came out on all cylinders. And what happened? I just think he's not the same Darren Williams he was in Utah. Maybe age, man. Maybe Father Time is coming on to him. He will never be the same Darren Williams that he was when you guys first got him or when he was in Utah. And it was crazy because before he left Utah, it was a debate of who was the best point guard in the NBA between Chris Paul and Darren Williams. Me and this guy will argue all the time. He'll go Darren Williams, I go Chris Paul. And, I won, as I always do.
The judge is still on that. The judge is still on that. The jury, the judge. I'm going all over the place.
Again, I win again.
He gets me so upset I confuse my words. I still got Darren Williams, by the way. Darren Williams, come on! Get it together! Let's do it. Oh, that's why we're here and that's why we chop it up. Alongside the show, Jimmy Azevedo. Make sure you subscribe to our Chop It Up page.
Yes, please do. Please
enjoy your afternoon lunch. Watch us. Enjoy. Give us your feedback. Tell us what you think.
Like the video if you like what you see. And please subscribe to the channel, man. Cannot stress it. We appreciate it so much.
Who wouldn't like us? Who wouldn't like us?
But on that note, you guys have a good one. Thank you for watching. Send us over.
We'll see you next week. Stay fine, New York!
Yeah!